Okay, 7 and 8. I'm going to kind of do them together because they have the same ideas. They just kind of flip-flop them as you're working on it. But what's going on here is you're playing the bass drum on the beat, doubles. 1 and. Those sort of rhythms. 1 and. The snare drum is doing the opposite. It's playing like it's a double starting on the upbeat. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3. If you put it together, they kind of overlap. The first note is by itself on the bass drum. The second note on the bass drum is where the snare drum starts its first note. So they overlap. And then the snare drum plays a note by itself after that. Here's what it sounds like. So if I were to, kind of visually show you a representation of what this looks like or how it works is, let's say these two fingers here represent the bass drum. Let's say these two fingers upside down represent the snare drum. So what's happening is there's a solo bass drum here, and then you have a bass drum and a snare drum together here, and then here you have a solo snare drum. So they literally overlap, and that makes it pretty challenging. So work through this section. Be patient with yourself. It's pretty hard. And I would even go as far as to say is if your goal is just kind of a general, hey, I want to learn generally how to play drums. I have a lot of students that come to me that play lots of percussion instruments, or they they have maybe other musical goals, and they're not so much interested in really like advancing their drum set ability. They just want to get some good stuff under their belts. I sometimes would just have them play or learn sections 1 through 6. 7, 8 for those people I would say is optional somewhat because it gets into some more complicated stuff, more advanced stuff. Now if you're like a diehard drum set person and that's what you're interested in, or if you play a lot of percussion instruments but drum set's also important to you, I would say go ahead and practice 7 and 8, part 7 and 8. Those are important for those people. But if you're kind of just looking for a general education and stuff, I have a lot of adults that come to me with those kind of goals. 7 and 8 may not be necessary for you. So it's up to you. 7 and 8 is pretty challenging. So you determine for yourself, or you can ask me, send me an email, call me up, whatever, and tell me your goals and say, hey, should I worry about these 2 sections? I'll tell you straight up, yeah, do it, or no, don't do it, okay? So anyway, let's do the 16 bar exercise here. It's all pretty tough. I'll just go ahead and play it for you. Let me play number 8 for you. I'll be there in a second. And then I'll conclude this part of the lesson. So here's number 8. Okay, so like I said, 7 and 8 is kind of optional depending on what your goals are. But if you've made it this far and you want to practice this stuff at 7 and 8, what I suggest doing is run through 1 through 7 and then work on 8. Or if you're at 7, part 7 16 bar exercise, work through 1 through 6 and then work on part 7 16 bar exercise. So go through that stuff. If you can get all this stuff pretty mastered, I mean, even at a quick tempo, you're going to really set yourself up to be a real monster player. This works on some real essential things, being able to play on the beat, being able to play off the beat, using doubles on the beat, doubles off the beat, overlapping things. It puts it on every part of the beat for all these exercises, so you're really playing every combination possible for this set of stuff that I'm giving you. That sets you up really nicely to be able to transition into pretty much any other book or listening to music and be able to play along with it, or anything that you like to hear on the radio. This sets you up for a lot of good things, so really be diligent in working on this stuff, and then from there you can kind of go to whatever you want to do. But I have lots of people that come to me who've been playing for 20, 30 years, even longer than I've been alive, and they say, you know, I never learned rudiments, I never learned how to read music, I really struggle with playing doubles on the bass drum or doubles on the snare drum, or sometimes very specific issues that they're having, but I have them go through this book, and by the time they're done with it, they're like just completely different drummer, and they can play a lot more than they've been able to play in 30 years or however long. And I'm real serious about that. I've been teaching this material for about 5 years, and I've seen hundreds of people go through it, and it's really worked out nicely for them. So if you're going to be patient, go through this stuff, you're going to be in a real good position with your drumming. If you don't go through this stuff, you're really holding yourself back. It's really the difference between being literate and illiterate. And if you are like an adult, for example, you would never want to say, yeah, I think being illiterate is a good thing. Well, that's never a good thing, and it's true in drumming as well. You need to be able to read some of this stuff. Wouldn't say you have to be an advanced music reader, but having a basic knowledge of it, being able to do this stuff is really going to help you out. Okay, so we're going to stop with that, and I'll see you guys later.